All right, well, the crypto space has been in flux for the last few months, seemingly unable to break free from the current trading band it's found itself in. With volatility the name of the game in global markets, where can a savvy investor find opportunities? Well, to help us understand, joining us now is Michael Milmeister from Stormrake. Michael, firstly, thank you so much for being with us.
Awesome to be here. Thanks, Sasha.
All right, so Michael, let's start broad picture here in terms of market dynamics. We've heard a little bit of the news just now. We've seen a little bit about what's driving the market. What's your take on the big macro events and elements that are driving the crypto market at present?
Yeah, very interesting what you said earlier about Bitcoin being stuck in a range. One of the reasons for that is because all eyes are on the Fed to see what's going to happen. Everybody's watching Jay Powell to see are they going to keep raising rates at the rate that they have, which is an unprecedented rise, or will they actually pivot and go the other way and start pumping money into the economy? And all markets are watching that, not just crypto, and that's why many markets are correlated together at the moment. But there are opportunities out there, and in a winter, in a crypto winter, these opportunities are priceless. And so the first opportunity I can share with you.
Yeah, and I would like to get to that, but before we do, I do want to just touch on the macro picture at the moment again to look at that idea of the correlated market you just mentioned. Because although we were seeing that seemingly tight correlation, particularly between the NASDAQ and crypto earlier in the year, it seems to have fallen back a little bit. I mean, there seems to be a floor, let's just say, that at least Bitcoin has hit and is unwilling to break below.
Yeah, absolutely true, absolutely true. The Bitcoin price seems to be holding that 20,000 level, slightly below at the moment, but still above what it was at its low in this cycle. And whilst many people are calling for $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 Bitcoin, that event may not happen. And it may not happen in one part because the Fed might pivot before we get to that. But another part, Bitcoin fell earlier than the other markets and fell harder than the other markets. But what we've seen in history is that Bitcoin tends to come back first, tends to lead the rise of all other cryptocurrencies and all other markets.
Right, certainly leading the falls, leading the rises, plenty of space for some investing opportunities. So let's delve into some of those that you're bringing us here today, starting with the DeFi move and what some of the latest plays that can be done in that space. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, in the DeFi space, this opportunity is not for everybody. It's for investors that are comfortable in the DeFi space, that are a bit tech savvy, have access to online wallets and can actually move funds around safely. So for those investors, there is a network called Arbitrum. That network is growing very, very rapidly. It's got over $1 billion in total value locked, TVL. And one of the reasons for that is that there is potentially going to be an airdrop coming. That airdrop has been hinted at by the network itself, and I guess the consensus is that there will be an airdrop very, very soon. An airdrop meaning if you do the right things, you hold certain balances in the right wallets, you might actually get free currency in that token that's going to be launched. This is quite significant because this network is so big now. What we've seen with similar launches, Uniswap and OP, is that millionaires have been created in a very short space of time by doing the right things on the network. Essentially, the Arbitrum network wants to incentivize users of their own network, and that's one way they do that, by incentivizing users by giving them the token itself.
It's an interesting thing because, I mean, airdrops, ICOs, these were the sort of emblematic elements of the 2017 bull run. They were very popular and then sort of fell out of vogue. There was sort of flashes in the pan here and there, but it's not something we've heard about as much in the current market. It doesn't seem as popular. I mean, do you think that this airdrop move is one that sort of still has interest for investors? Well,
there's certainly less ICOs than there was in that craze, but the difference here is that this isn't a brand new project starting with an ICO. This is an existing project that already has a huge amount of value. We know it has value because it's got locked up funds on it, and people are actually using this network. So it's like I can equate it to a stock on the share market that is private and is just going to launch publicly and actually give out the shares to the people that are using it. So that's the difference. So we've got a good explainer on the website at stormrake.com /insights. But essentially there's a whole heap of steps that you can do that will potentially give you access to this airdrop.
Okay, definitely an interesting play to watch, and one I guess we'll see how it does play out. But let's move to your next sort of play for the time being, and this is in the derivative space. I mean, we said that the DeFi space is not for the faint-hearted when it comes to crypto derivatives, certainly not for the novice in the space. Tell us a little bit about the moves that you're seeing play out there.
Correct. Don't try this at home if you haven't touched derivatives before. But as we talked about, volatility being low, Bitcoin staying at the same level for months now, which is very unusual for Bitcoin. Everybody talks about Bitcoin being volatile, but in actual fact, as we sit here today, the stock market is more volatile than Bitcoin. That is unheard of, and it's not the usual thing. It's certainly not what we expect in the future. So if you want to buy that volatility, if you want to take advantage of current low prices for options due to low volatility, then a simple straddle might be the way to go. A straddle is where you buy a call option, you also buy a put option. So your exposure is capped to what you pay for these options. Yeah, so you pay 2 sets of premium, but you've got upside if things go really well, and you've got upside if things go really badly. And that comes back to what we talked about at the very start. If the Fed chooses to keep raising rates and moves the entire economy in the wrong direction, well, you're going to make money on the put. Right. If they pivot and start pumping money into the economy, markets recover, you're going to see Bitcoin fly, and you're going to make money on the call. So you've got unlimited upside on the up and the down, but if prices stay the same, that's when you're going to lose your premium.
Right, exactly right. So I mean, it sounds to me a bit of a way of, high investment language saying, ostensibly, we're not really sure. This could go either way. Yeah. Let's keep ourselves as well hedged as possible. Exactly right.
Exactly right. We don't know. We don't know at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that decision is made by the Fed board, and we've got no control over it. So, but we can set up our trades to take advantage of it.
I wonder as well, and before we move on to your next trading and investment idea, I suppose I wonder at the moment, how much power and play do you think the crypto markets are really having in the sort of global market space at the moment? You keep bringing back the Fed into the conversation. You spoke about the tight correlation that's happening in a number of different markets. Everyone's looking for signs and signals within the crypto space, but really, is it the externalities, is it the external features that are impacting it more than anything else? Is there really any power to play within the space?
It wasn't like this to start with. Crypto was vastly different in the way it acted to traditional markets. It is that way at the moment, but I also don't think that it will be like that in the future. I think in the future there will be a decoupling of crypto or Bitcoin to traditional markets, and you will see volatility be different. You will see all sorts of things. We're just not there yet, right. But we are very, very close.
Okay, interesting. Well, all right, and that plays nicely and segues us into your next idea, which is that long-term investor play. This is looking maybe away from the highfalutin, the one who wants to gamble and play the game a little tighter, a little more sophisticated, to just someone who wants to keep in the long game, believes in the crypto world as a whole. I mean, what's your take on this play?
Yeah, and this might be the best play of all, and it's very simple. Whether you call it progressive purchasing or dollar cost averaging, DCA, at the end of the day, what you want to be doing in a market where Bitcoin is more than 70% off its all-time high is accumulating. And the smart money is accumulating. We can see that whale activity is up, and whales in this case are people that hold 10,000 or more Bitcoin. So it's significant. They're accumulating. They're buying at this time because they can see value, and they can see that Bitcoin's scraping the bottom of the range in the middle of crypto winter when no one wants to talk about it. Right. they're accumulating, and that's the people you want to follow. So what you want to be doing is potentially splitting your funds and dollar cost averaging month in, month out, as long as that price remains low at these levels. And what you're going to achieve there is, A, you're not putting everything all at once in, putting all your eggs in one basket. You are getting a nice average price. You know you're not going to hit a high price and then the next month it's lower. So it's just an easy, simple way to get in to the market and increase your exposure to Bitcoin, which especially for people that have their shares, they've got their property, they're a little bit worried about those things in the current climate. You want to have a small portion in Bitcoin. You want to get off zero.
Yeah,
that's the key.
Getting off zero, a classic phrase of the last sort of crypto winter and into that bull run. I want to touch though on a moment, you were mentioning the whales just there in the crypto space. I think it's interesting to think about right now because in previous cycles, and I think in the sort of psyche of those who've been in the crypto space for a little bit of time, that used to represent high net wealth individuals, often people who'd gotten in early, were able to buy up a lot or hold a lot, or maybe had forgotten about a lot of crypto they'd been holding until they were much, much wealthier. But today, there's a few more institutions at play, correct? I mean, a lot of this is still speculative, not every institution's making it public, but there are more institutions involved in that sort of whale growth space. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Absolutely, and it's all happening right now. As I was on the way over here, I read that Societe Generale, one of the biggest French banks, has now opened up to Bitcoin, including offering custodial services. We've had BlackRock, one of the largest funds in the world, if not the largest, open up a Bitcoin fund. You're going to see a lot more institutionals like that come in. You're going to see the next step, which is super funds, making it easy for clients to buy Bitcoin through them directly. In Australia at the moment, you need to set up a self-managed super fund to invest in Bitcoin, and a lot of people are doing that. The next step of adoption is going to be actual super funds, large super funds, offering a proportion in Bitcoin, right? So you're going to have your balanced portfolio have a small portion in Bitcoin. You're going to have your aggressive portfolio having a larger portion in Bitcoin. And when that happens, that's really mass market adoption. And that could be one thing that starts the next wave as well.
Right, and you've hinted at a few things here. So before I let you go, I'm going to put you on the spot slightly and say you've implied that you think that the crypto winter is sort of coming to an end at some point, maybe sooner, maybe later. But what's your sort of imagined path or timeline or any sort of ideas you might have about how we're going to get out of this band trading?
Yeah, look, I don't like to be very specific because, as we talked about, there's so many factors here at play. There are global economic factors that influence this. But look, I think within the next year, you're going to see significant movement and you're likely to start the next stage. At the moment, we're in accumulation, but we're going to move to the next stage fairly soon.